Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. If someone asked you about voter suppression, would you be able to talk about it and its effects on elections? Would you be able to give an oral history on voting rights in this country? That's what's at stake in the new documentary, All In, The Fight for Democracy. It's now in select theaters and it will be streaming on Amazon Prime September 18th, and I want to talk about it. This is Paul's trip to the movies. Alabama gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, who also served in the Georgia House of Representatives, uses the lessons she learned in her campaign against Brian Kemp as an outline to bring the issues of voter suppression to the forefront. We as Americans know that we all have the right to vote, but we don't realize is that there are all of these little laws put in place throughout many states to block votes from being counted. All In, The Fight for Democracy is from the directing team of Lisa Cortez and Liz Garbus, whose recent work includes the HBO docuseries I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Having a documentary like this on a streaming service is a big step to give access to many of those who don't feel comfortable going back to a movie theater. Stacey Abrams doesn't make this a biopic about her, but she does open up about her parents' political influences on her and the discrimination she faced as a young girl. This all led to her lifelong road to being a fighter for justice and the right to vote. Much like Ava DuVernay's documentary 13th, All In, The Fight for Democracy takes current issues facing so many minorities and steps back to expand on the history of voting in America to then give context. It starts as a great history lesson on the Constitution, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 19th Amendments, and the Reconstruction era to give background on how voting rights came to be in this country. How can we fully understand the present and fight for the future if we don't know our own history? Another massive turning point, which many consider a step back, was the Supreme Court case of Shelby County v. Holder in 2013. What came of this was stricter voter ID laws, gerrymandering, voting purges, and other micro-laws that forbade people from voting on a state-by-state level. This documentary is not only timely in its topics, but includes footage of a post-George Floyd time in America, voters in 2020 wearing masks, and how gerrymandering affected Georgia polling places in 2020. There is an urgency throughout this film that showcases how changes need to be made now. There's a call to action at the end to check to see if you're registered, to tell people how to cast their ballot, and as a reminder to have your voice heard. You're not just voting for yourself in this moment, but you're also voting for your children and the next generations of voters down the line. Hopefully this can be an eye-opening documentary on an extremely important issue that too often doesn't get the attention that it deserves. It's challenging, but one that's easier to understand and gain a better understanding of with this documentary. I'm giving All In, The Fight for Democracy 4 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I have some other movie reviews as well as my appearances on Twin Cities Live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Paul's Movie Trip. I'd love to hear from you. Have you watched All In? Tell me your thoughts on this movie. And then go to my website, paulstriptothemovies.com, for even more reviews. Thank you so much for watching my review of All In, The Fight for Democracy. This is Paul's trip to the movies.